The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Are you ready? It is your time to take a few moments from your busy day to unwind, be inspired, and listen to the psychic insights of your host, empowerment psychic, Halley, Elise, a top 100 psychic, speaker, and author. Off air, be sure to connect with Halley at HalleyElise.com. And now, the Halley Elise Show.
Welcome, everyone. So glad you're tuning in this evening. Did you catch that amazing moon? It was so funny. I was driving last night, and that supermoon we've been able to see for a couple of days. It's not just on the actual day. And I thought, oh, no problem. When I get home, then I'll get out of the car and get a picture of it. Well, somehow the position of the moon changed, and all of a sudden it didn't look super anymore. I was so disappointed because here I was driving down the road, and I'm seeing all this beautiful background on the road with trees and just different sceneries, and the moon was massive in appearance. And then it turned to its normal size. It was kind of funny. Anyways, I know a lot of people have really been enjoying, I believe tonight as well, you should still be able to see the incredible supermoon. And if you're curious about it, do a little research. Each month, each moon is, I should say each full moon, is given a specific name. And it goes way back to Farmer's Almanac and even before, when you had people practicing earth religions and people that didn't have all the technology that we have today. They had to figure out not just their crops, but things like haircuts and how to take care of a woman who wanted to have a child. It's really kind of fascinating. So it might behoove you to do a little research and see what you come up with. Anyways, when it is the full moon, it is a great time to do a ritual, a ceremony that you can release. And what I mean by that is we all have different things that seem to pop up, whether it's in our business world, our social life, our familial life, that at times they trigger us or they make us uncomfortable. And when you have the supermoon, it helps it make it easier to just say, that's it. I'm done. I'm not using this anymore. And again, you can look online. There's all sorts of wonderful things. But one of the easiest is to do a burning prayer. And that is to first write down what it is that you desire. Because also the full moon has great energy to bring things in. And it's funny. It sounds like a contradiction as far as eliminating. But think of it this way. When you have the stove on high and you're cooking, sometimes you need to boil something for it to cook properly. So think of the full moon as your partner in bringing to the surface what's unnecessary so that it can be dispelled for you to bring what's next. And a burning prayer helps you do that. You would write this on the full moon. You would write down what it is that you are letting go of, as well as what it is that you are calling in, that you are invoking, or you're looking forward to using. And then you literally burn it. I wouldn't suggest doing it in the house. Take it outside. If you have a little area with dirt, that would be great. You can put some rocks around it, kind of like the campfire girls and boys. Or they do sell these metal types of, and it's not even metal, there's, I am drawing a blank as to what it is. Nope, I have it. It's kind of a cast iron, kind of a cauldron or a bowl that you can put the prayer in. And you burn it. And the idea is that when you burn it, you're doing something physical to release the energies, but also to allow that smoke to reach up to the heavens and deliver your message. If nothing else, at the very least, it makes you thoughtful and allows you to really focus on what is it that's coming next? What is it that you would like to connect with? No matter what, whether the burning prayer feels right or not, full moon is a great time, like I said, to release. And what's fascinating is it doesn't have to be limited to one thing. So for instance, let's say your dog is not well and your job is not going well and money's short. Let's use those three things. You can sit quietly and contemplate what is it that isn't feeling right in your world. And most people say, oh, don't do that because if you're manifesting, you can't do that. But the way that I see it is you want to release the things that have a negative charge within so that you can create the outcome without. And if you allow yourself that moment, it's similar to me when you sit and you write everything down and then you scrunch it up. You're doing something to allow yourself to really connect with the things that are important. And as you focus on those things, allow yourself to feel. I mean, really feel. So the dog being unwell, for instance, might be something that really troubles you and you don't want to lose the dog. So you think about that, but then you allow your mind to go to when the dog was a puppy. Or if the dog's health all of a sudden turned, what would that look like? How would that make you feel? And you do it with each thing. For instance, the next thing, work. Oh, you're not in the job that you'd like to be in. Yes, you're making money, but you're not making enough money. Perhaps the employees are not what you really thought they were going to be. Write it down or sit, and as I said before, just kind of contemplate, connect with the feelings attached to it and reinvent them. Allow yourself to feel what's uncomfortable, knowing that you are going to let it go, and then focus on what is good. Focus on what makes your heart smile. Focus on a different outcome and go all the way through whatever that mental list is. When you're complete, take a very deep breath. And when I say deep breath, it's not like that's not a deep breath. You want to go, really a full-bodied deep breath. The idea is that you are not just oxygenating your system, but you are invoking life force energy. You're invoking chi to power the thing that you are focusing on. And then allow your mind to linger in that area for a little bit, knowing that the timing is perfect. The full moon is going to help you rid yourself of what's necessary, and that the breath, the energy, that life force is going to empower it. And do your best when you're thinking about each thing to spend at least 2 minutes so that you're activating energy out into the universe. And for those of you who are thinking, oh, geez, Louise, this is wonky, we've talked about over time how in certain universities, professors, for instance, in Harvard in business school, there are professors who will have their students at the very beginning of the program write down things that they desire and then put it away somewhere, but somewhere where they can find it later. And then they seem to go back and check, has anything manifested? 9 out of 10 times, things have come to fruition. It is more than just a thought. We know that thoughts powers what's to come, what we choose to manifest, but it's much more than that. It is the emotion that's attached to it. It's the energy that is attached to it. So you do want to really feel it, because you can say anything. I mean, really think about it. We all say, oh, wouldn't it be great to win the lotto? Yeah, that's great. How many of you actually sit down and feel it? Sit down and let that sense just take you over. What would that feel like? What would you and your family do? What would your future be like? All of those things are consideration. Again, there's a myriad of ways of using the moon's energies. Why not use it to your benefit? Science has shown us that when the moon is full, there seems to be more activity overall on the planet. There are more accidents. There are police out in full force for different reasons. The tidal waves are different. We are connected to the moon. The earth is connected to the moon. We are connected to the earth. It makes sense that we can tap into that energy and transmute something. And even when things aren't bad and you don't want to transmute, you just want to have an invocation of something good in your world, use that energy. That full moon energy allows you to amp up, power, and empower. Something really to allow yourself to contemplate, especially if there's something that in this moment you'd like to see come to fruition. Okay, all of that said, it's been a very interesting couple of weeks. I don't know about anybody else, but I've been feeling kind of wonky about, you name it, a lot of different things. But what I'm seeing is people are not happy. They are running around like crazy people. Even the littlest thing, for instance, you're starting to turn into a lane and there's a car coming, and they don't even pause for a moment to allow you in. They have to rush right up so that they're behind the other car. Even if you have a turn signal on, even if you wave, not everybody is like this, of course, but I am finding that we seem to be in somewhat of a volatile time. And I have a feeling if one of my friends in astrology were to take a look, there's definitely something going on. I also find that during this time, I'm very restless. Normally, I sleep like nothing. Close my eyes, that's it, I'm out. But the past week or two, sleep has been restless. I still go out, but do not feel as rested and know I am restless. I've spoken to several people who seem to be having the same experience. Usually when this happens for me, there's some planetary changes that take place within a relatively short period of time. I find that other people get like this just before a major event in their life. Start listening to your body. Most people that teach psychic ability or awareness of their psychic ability, how to tap into your intuition, they tend to only focus on that mental, the spiritual aspect. But your body has the ability to foretell future events. Your body has the ability to let you know what you need to pay attention to. It's kind of the same idea as when you know somebody special is coming over and you get that excitement going on inside and you're wondering, what is that? It's that energy that is connected to that person that you want to see. Your body automatically starts to behave a certain way. In the same way that if you are going to be in a room of people that you don't want to be with, your body's going to respond. Now, the tricky part is getting familiar with all the little tools. Excuse me. It seems to be an evening of congestion, I'm sorry. But all the little tools that you have within. And on a lot of the old black and white shows, you'll see some little old lady or old man say, oh, my knees hurt, it's going to rain. And you're thinking, well, there must have been a physical ill to get to that point. But even if you don't have a physical ill, you'll find that that type of thing shows up. Your body gives you information. We're going to take a quick break. If you'd like a psychic reading, give a call to 888-565-1470. And we'll be right back. This is your empowerment psychic, Halley, Elise, one of the top 100 psychics in America. For over 30 years, I have offered psychic readings, programs, spiritual guidance, and other life skill techniques. As our lives have become more complicated, we often reach for answers. Who are we? Where are we headed? Are we pointed in the right direction? In addition, we often are concerned for our loved ones. I have helped thousands of people navigate their life circumstances through different modalities of spiritual and intuitive guidance. Call me at 561-755-2166 and allow me to further explain how I may assist you in clearing the path of yesterday so today and tomorrow will be a success. Call me at 561-755-2166 or visit my site, HalleyElise.com. That's HalleyElise.com.
You have been listening to empowerment psychic Halley Elise, a top 100 psychic. She is your connection to all things spiritual, psychic, and empowering. Your guide to peace and wisdom. For a private appointment off air, call 561-755-2166. Now, back to the Halley Elise Show with empowerment psychic Halley Elise.
Welcome back. If you'd like to call in this evening for a psychic reading, I was going to give you a 561 number, which would have been the office. No, we want the station number, which is 888-565-1470. Once again, that's 888-565-1470. I was just thinking during break about last night. I had done a thank you event. And if you're wondering, what the heck is that? periodically I volunteer for different organizations. And when they have events, people will come in and pay for services just on the whole. So, for instance, they'll pay their entry to come in, and then they can have the services from different people that are there. Well, I did a charitable event, I guess it was a couple of months ago, and the main gal who runs the charity wanted to show appreciation to all her employees and her volunteers, and she did this wonderful spa day and asked me to come in to speak with them. It was so nice being in that environment, you know, all the lovely smells and the lighting and the sounds and the music, people being happy, which is converse to what I was mentioning prior to the break, my seeing so many people who are discontent. It's such a pleasure to be in an environment where people are happy, because when people are happy, you're happy. Now, the tough part is, how do you maintain your center, your happiness, when others are unhappy? How do you maintain when you're just not feeling it? Really, the easiest way to do that is tap into something that you know. For instance, if you run, you're a runner, and you know that when you are on the road and you're running, that your mind is crystal clear and that you feel like you're really breathing and you're excited and high energy, then think about that. When you think about that, the automatic thought starts to raise your frequency, which allows you to become more content. Let's say you're not a runner, because not everybody is. Let's say you love babies and you love your grandbabies and your friends' grandbabies, and you're just happy when babies are around, and you just visited with some of your grandchildren. Give some thought to that. Reconnect to those moments when you were with your grandchildren and you were smiling and everything just felt really good. Again, your vibration will lift. We don't seem to pay enough attention, I say we, obviously, as a whole, pay attention to the fact that we are more powerful than we think. And I want to say that again, we are more powerful than we think. So often we look around and we say, okay, circumstance, that's outside of us. We cannot control it. There's something to be said about first checking in with ourselves and seeing, in some way, are we the catalyst for this? Have we done something? Did we stay in our integrity? Were we kind? Were we pleasant? Were we where we needed to be emotionally? Where we needed to be physically? Because sometimes in your head, you're in a great space, but if you are deep in thought and your arms are crossed and your legs are crossed, you tend to give off a vibe that you're not friendly or that you don't want to be bothered, and that may not be the case. This said, if you contemplate how you're being perceived, then you're able to check in with yourself and say, all right, am I responsible for a reaction or not? And if you recognize that you're not, then absolutely go into that space of raising your frequency, which is thinking back to something that you know or envisioning something to come. For instance, if you're planning on getting married and it's next week and you're thinking about all the joy that's going to come along with that, it's a great feeling, a great visual, a great connection to make. If when you pray, you feel truly grounded to the earth and truly connected to the universe and to the divine, take a moment, do a little prayer in your head. My point being, we do not have to stay in any particular state other than that which we desire. Did you get that? We do not have to stay in any particular state other than that which we desire. And that simply means if people around us are difficult, if somebody brings us to tears because we're reactive, if someone's not letting us in to that parking space or on the road, we can choose to respond different. But it's more than just a response, because a lot of times we're on automatic. Somebody does something and we respond. For instance, somebody says, oh, you look very nice today. And your response is, thank you. That's automatic. You're not really thinking. I'm talking about not being automatic. I'm talking about being aware of the moment that you're in. And if you don't like it, change it. And that applies to being in a crowd of people as well as being at home with a spouse as well as being alone or talking to a neighbor. If you are not feeling as if life is good, if you're not feeling as if you want to be happy, that's the most important time to work on it. And when I say work, I don't like things that are laborious. For me, it's fast and easy. How do you shift? How do you shift? How do you shift? You need to start asking, what can I do to feel better? When was the last time I felt better? All this checking in starts to activate things within your mind. Not only that, bringing your mind to certain thoughts helps raise your endorphins. It's so much more than just a biophysical type of reaction, because you have the spirit, the mind, and the body working together. This is why things such as yoga, meditation, prayer, all of these things are so effective. You switch your state. You allow yourself to get into a place of grace, a place of good, a place of contentment. Perhaps if you take nothing else from today's show, you can take a moment to think about, how are you interacting with your world? And if you think, well, you know what? I'm fine. I don't need any of this because I do the right thing. I'm nice to people. If they're not nice to me, well, forget them. And you can go that route. That's fine. There's no judgment. But does that really make you happy? And if not, and you don't want to do work, because as I said, I like things that are quick, use your intuition. What does your intuition tell you? Ask yourself, check in. And if you're thinking, oh, well, I'm not really psychic, I really can't do that. Sometimes I've got feelings, but allow yourself to check in. And that simply means asking within and saying to yourself, what is it I need to do in this moment? You would be amazed at how often you get the correct answer. And every time you celebrate a correct answer, you actually feed your conscious mind with a directive to continue to do this. Continue to look for correct answers for yourself. Continue to find that higher vibration, that higher feeling, that higher frequency, that higher life. It really is a choice. And when I say that, sometimes people are like, no, that's not true. Sometimes it's beyond you. You're in a bad situation with a marriage where somebody's abusive, or you don't have enough money to eat, or there are awful circumstances that you can't move beyond. Really and truly, the way that I perceive this, and my clients seem to agree, there is always a way to make a change, to transmute what's taking place. Is it always instantaneous? No. Sometimes you have to give a little bit of effort, but it's not as difficult as you might think. That intuitive knowing, that's always with you. Whether you recognize it or not, that's up to you. And the truth is, most people have amazing intuitive ability, but they're so busy in their mind thinking about the next thing they're going to, or that thing they need to look up on the internet, or cooking their meal, obligations, responsibilities, other people. It goes on and on and on. Instead of just getting quiet for a moment. It's not about being the guru and having to sit a half an hour every day, twice a day. It's not about doing morning prayers every day and doing chanting and eating perfect. It's not about any of that. It's about knowing your truer, higher self, that part of you that is your spirit. I was having a conversation today with a dear friend, and we were talking about the difference between being a spiritual being, having a physical existence, versus being a physical being, having a spiritual existence. Being that spiritual being means that no matter what's going on in your physical world, you can just go beyond it. Not always easy, but there's that knowing that it's more than doable. When you are being that physical being, having a spiritual experience, that means there are short periods of time that you really feel connected, or that short period of time where you have that consciousness of there's something greater and that you are a part of that. We are not separate from the divine. We have so many challenges on this planet in respect to our physical circumstance. And when we believe that is all there is, our belief becomes a reality. somebody here at the station last week mentioned they had something going on, and they asked if I would give them kind of a little mini reading. I said, sure. But what felt most important was to kind of move some energy for them to share. And they said yes, and I said okay, and felt good. But what was really nice was the response, that they saw all sorts of things. They experienced all sorts of things in that moment. And it was only a short period of time. But this individual was open to whatever was taking place. They were open in that moment to that spiritual self. So again, it's that spiritual being having a physical experience, or a physical being having the spiritual experience. I'll leave you with that. I thank you for tuning in this evening, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.
Remember to tune in every week at this time on WWNN for more peace, information, and psychic phenomena with empowerment psychic Halley Elise, Top 100 Psychic.
The